So a long time ago, in a town on the other side of the Squirrel Hill Tunnel, so for anyone who lives in the city, a far, far away place, there was this idea, there was this dream in a community of a recreation center, a center where the kids and the adults and everybody could go and work out and have community functions and all sorts of things like that. And I quashed it. I destroyed the dreams of all of these people of putting this recreation center in the Norwin community. But before you judge me as a monster, hear me out. I served on the municipal council in North Irwin Borough. And this rec center, I didn't think was gonna help out my community. And I remember being on council and sitting there and listening to the testimony of the people who wanted to plan the project. And it was a collaboration between 3 different municipalities, all in the Norwin School District. And I remember asking that day, there won't be any tax money going towards this recreation center, right? Oh, no tax dollars at all. And I said, okay, well, if that changes, if that changes, are we able to get out of the deal? And they said, yeah, of course, if we're gonna go with taxes, you can get out of the deal. I said, okay, well, I'm in. Let's move this thing forward. But I wanted to join the board so I knew what was going on and I could continue to monitor the situation. Well, it turns out that, as I had kind of suspected, eventually they wanted the taxpayers to back a bond. So that way, if it fails, the taxpayer's on the hook. They had the YMCA involved. They had Excella Health involved, which is like the UPMC of Westmoreland County. So I said, if it's such a great plan and it's a brain dead, no mistake winner, then Excella Health and UPMC, or YMCA rather, they would join forces and they'll make it happen. So I was against the backing of a bond by the taxpayers, and everybody was up in arms. Oh, this is horrible, this is horrible. And I remember a councilwoman on North Irwin Council, she came up to me and she was one of the ones who was in favor of the recreation center because, I mean, it's great. You know, the taxpayers can back a bond for her kids to go play. Never mind the fact that she represented at a community that was almost entirely elderly and weren't going to go play in the gym. So she said, if this thing goes through, are you gonna try to destroy it? And I said, no. I said, if this gets voted through, and it becomes the law of the land and we have a recreation center in the Norwin community, I will do everything in my power to make sure it succeeds, because why would I want to waste an investment? Why would I want to throw taxpayer dollars away? So I asked the same question to the president with healthcare. If you're not going to come up with a new plan, then why are you looking to destroy the plan that's in place? Why are you looking to make everybody else, why are you trying to ruin everyone else's lives instead of just going with the current plan until you can come up with something else? I'm not saying wave the pom-poms, but I'm saying at least allow it to survive, because it is the law of the land, and your side was too incompetent to come up with something else, even though you had, what, like 8 years to come up with something, or for forever, basically. So I don't think that's too much to ask. And I just know, with this plan, with Donald Trump pulling the money from Obamacare, not investing in it the way that he should, a lot of people are at risk at dying, and the corporate funeral home chains are just salivating over the idea that bodies are going to be coming in, profits will be up, and they'll be making tons of money. But fear not, community-based, family-owned Hahn Funeral Home, the home of the Green Burial, even though they stand to make out with these huge cuts to health care, we know that they live on a higher moral standard. They're based around community, and they're here to love and help you. They don't want to see people die, but it's a fact of life, and when it does happen, you can always go to Hahn's for all of your services. Welcome to the River's Edge Radio Network. I am Brian Crawford, Pittsburgh's Moral Compass, here with Michael Cohen, my co-host. Welcome. How are you doing?
Pretty good.
Good. So yeah, I just want to see them continue to fund the healthcare plan until they come up with something else. I'm somebody who's been very opposed to Obamacare from the beginning. It's been a plan that I thought was disastrous. It pretty much makes us completely beholden to private corporate insurance companies.
Well,
when you defund Obamacare without putting anything else in place, you actually do just go back to what we had before. So you should still like it because we're still beholden to private companies. It'll be fine.
Well, I don't like it either way. So
Oh, yeah. Well, there you go.
Yeah, I'm opposed to it either way. But we've got a lot in store for you today. If you were expecting us to be here at James Street with Kevin Safner, that is going to happen, but you have to wait a little bit longer. Next week, he currently still owns a restaurant and still has to deal with all of the trials that go with owning a restaurant, and he had to reschedule with us. So just hold on a little bit longer. Next Sunday, 7 p.m., 10 a.m. Monday morning, if you're a listener on the radio network, we will have that coming to you. But we still have James Street Talk today. We have Jeff Betten here as well. Jeff, how are you?
Good. I'm the cut rate Kevin Safner.
Yeah, no, we're happy to have you. We've got, but is James Street related? You're having a big birthday bash at James Street.
Absolutely.
So,
November 4th.
Yeah, November 4th. I'm excited. It starts at 8 p.m. We're going to dive into that a little bit later and everything that is going to be going on with that. So lots of James Street stuff still going on, and also a possible culprit in the...
Are we finding out who it is?
I don't know.
Oh, let's stone them.
There is, well, I think that they should lose their jobs. I think they should be in the bread line. I do think that these people need to have the wrath of God, the world, the elements, and everything coming down on them, and they should be treated with the same ferocity in which they have caused an entire establishment worth of people to become unemployed.
It is outrageous that you can make anonymous tips on stuff like that.
And it's outrageous that this is all tied to a liquor license. The fact that I could go out of my house and just blast music into the streets, and for some reason that's more acceptable than if I was selling alcohol and just blasting music into the streets. We'll get into that. It's infuriating. I want to see these people down in the ditch. I want to see them lose their fortunes. I want them to lose their retirements. I want to see these people suffer. I want to see these people in pain. Whoever it is that has done this to James Street, there just can't be enough going wrong.
We should go door to door and make people make their neighbors sign things saying that it wasn't them.
I agree. Well, as I said before, if anyone knows who it is, I'm not advocating destruction of property, but
call the tips line. We'll make it public, and we won't advocate anything.
Well, what I'm saying is I'm not advocating anything. All I'm saying is that kids go around and TP houses on Halloween, and you might as well TP an asshole's house instead of a nice person's house.
And they
That's
burn
all I'm
stuff
saying.
on Devil's Night, right?
That's right. So I'm not advocating anything. I'm just saying that if you're going to do something, you might want to look at somebody who's a monster and a soulless bastard in your community than somebody who is an upstanding, righteous Pittsburgher.
What did I sign up for?
I am saying. We've got the weird news today as well, including a story about space pussy. So we've got that coming up as well.
That's the band I'm signing next week, actually.
Is it really? Okay. So we've got him here right now. So yeah, and Jeff, you're tell us about what you do, because if somebody is not listening.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hopefully everyone locally in the Pittsburgh area knows about Misery Records, knows about Wild Kindness Records, and that's what I do. I'm the general manager of Misery. I'm the chief operating officer of Wild Kindness.
So there you go.
Yeah.
So that's why I said he's going to sign. And we've got. Hopefully, we're going to be working on something here to get a lot of that music.
Yeah,
right
absolutely.
On the River's Edge, riversedgepgh.com, Pittsburgh's voice for local music. So I want to talk a little bit about Darlene Harris, because she's in the news again. And right now, the ACLU they've sent her a letter. They are threatening to sue Councilwoman Harris because she is blocking people on Facebook. This is not a joke. They actually want to sue her because she's blocking people on Facebook. And they are currently talking about doing the same thing with the president, who's blocked people on Twitter. I feel like in the president's case, it makes sense. I feel like in Darlene Harris's case, it's a little bit different, because Facebook, you've got personal pages and you've got actual pages that aren't personal. So I feel like it's not the same thing. I actually feel like, and I know this is going to be an unpopular thing to say, I know it, but I think she's kind of getting the shaft here. I don't think it's appropriate to sue her for blocking people on her personal Facebook profile page. It's not a page that, I mean, she does talk about her job, but I mean, everybody talks about their job on their Facebook page. I do it all the time. I do it all the time. But I'm just hoping to get fired.
Well, if it's
But-
her personal page, why is she accepting friend requests from all these people? You can control who you let to see your page.
You
Can't
can
you?
unfollow them, right?
Yeah. Or you just don't accept a friend request.
Yeah.
If someone you don't know sends you a friend request, you don't have to accept it. So
That's true, yeah.
why is she accepting these people's friend requests in the first place?
I don't know. I mean, I will do that if I see like somebody has like 50, people in common or
Oh,
whatever.
sure,
I'm
yeah, I
thinking,
do the same thing.
maybe I know them, so I will, accept in that case.
She
So-
should just unfriend them then.
There you go. Yeah.
Well, that's what. Yeah.
Easy enough.
I just.
Different than blocking.
It is different than blocking. Basically, she's been blocking people who criticize her, and so maybe you shouldn't be in public office if you can't accept criticism. But I feel like this is like going to the extreme. If she had like an actual page and she was blocking people on her political page, I would say yes. But really, being a public servant, does that mean you are no longer allowed to have any kind of privacy at all?
Yeah, It's tough because the social media is where communication happens now, right? And we're running into this over and over again with free speech, where people are like, well, it's on a private platform, but like we're essentially swapping out publicly protected medias for these like private platforms. So do we need to have laws governing how they're used beyond just a company's terms of service?
Yeah, I just feel like in her case, I don't know, like if she, it's kind of like with Wendy Bell when she said something, when she had her comments and she did it on the news' site. I thought, well, you're on company Facebook paging, you're paging on your public. Not that, she could have gotten in trouble either way, but I just feel like if it was like her personal page, it's not as bad.
Yeah.
But if it's,
She should probably be allowed to block people on her Facebook.
this is how I feel. Yeah, it's.
Although maybe we should be looking into passing legislation on whether or not you can use your personal Facebook for politics, or if you use your personal Facebook for politics, if it falls under a different legal designation after that, or something along those lines.
I just think we're at
it's all very uncharted. Right?
That's the problem.
Right?
Yeah, we're at a point where this hasn't been clearly fleshed out. We're still kind of learning about social media and the power that it has. Look at this whole Russian thing. Just a year ago, I never would have even thought of Russia coming in and buying ads on Facebook to try to swing elections. And honestly, a few years ago, I don't know how successful it would have been anyways, because I feel like, the older people didn't start using Facebook until recently.
Yeah.
Remember when that was a big thing? I remember my aunt, for example, she used to criticize everyone, like, oh, you're tagging yourself. Everybody knows where you're at. They know you're not home. They know that, that you could be, robbed or whatever. And she would go on and on and on and on and on about all of this stuff. And like a year later, she's tagging everywhere, man. She is just like the tagging queen. And then she actually, so she's just tagging everyone. And it's just crazy because I'm thinking, it was literally a year ago that you were yelling at me for tagging. And I was doing it more for like almost like business purposes, letting people know I'm at different places and things like that. It wasn't just, tagging because I was at some bar or whatever for no reason. So, but I came up right now, I have a list. It's according to CNN, the top 10 worst tweets by politicians.
Okay.
So, and these are tweets that were deleted or silenced in some way or another. One of them is Rick Perry, who tweeted a picture of a Democrat, and this comes from CNN. They developed this list here, but the tweet, it says the most drunk Democrat in Texas was what he said, and there's a picture. It says, "I don't always drive drunk at 3 times the legal blood limit of alcohol, but when I do, I indict Governor Perry for calling me out about it. I am the most drunk Democrat in Texas."
Burn!
Ooh.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
So that was a tweet that was deleted. Another one here, if I can get this computer to work. So, as you, at least I haven't, the one time you weren't here for this, none of you were here for this. This one time I had a computer that was so horrible that I literally punted it across the room like a football. And it started working after that. So, Anthony Weiner Of course, he would do something wrong on social media.
Sure.
He sent a private message. So again, this is private though. So, but he sent a private message where he basically accused. It says, "TiVo shot, Facebook hacked. Is my blender gonna attack me next?" And he was basically saying that everything he did wrong was because somebody hacked him. So, which came out to be not true. We've got Senator Ted Cruz who says. Posted a picture, says, "Did a little shopping for the office with Senator Mike Lee in Houston today," but the picture he posted was the skin of an endangered animal. So,
coming from the Zodiac Killer, that doesn't surprise me.
yeah, it's not surprising, but again, another deleted tweet. Let's see, I'm going to skip number 4 because it's kind of complicated. Sarah Palin invented a word. And this one to me is the worst of all. It's the post that she originally made that was tweeted. It said, "Ground Zero mosque supporters. Doesn't it stab you in the heart as it does ours throughout the heartland? Peaceful Muslims, please repudiate." So then she posted, "Repudiate, misunderestimate, we weed up. English is a living language. Shakespeare liked to coin new words too." So she compared herself to Shakespeare.
Nice.
Go celebrate it. You know my feelings on inventing new words. You know my feelings on the Oxford Dictionary.
Freeze everything in 2010, basically, right?
Basically, Webster has surpassed Oxford as the greatest dictionary here in the English language. Oxford has gone down in the toilets. And I'm sure they teamed up with Sarah Palin to come up with some of the new words that they're trying to push on us.
I'm a fan of the Urban Dictionary.
I would say that is
Classic.
further. Oh, and by the way, we have Zach Fell here as well. He is going to be heading up the soon-to-be Metal Edge radio station. He's engineering for us this evening, or this morning if you're listening at 10 a.m. So we've got Keith Ellison, who posted a picture. It says, "Hell yeah, Benihana up in this bitch," and he posted a picture.
That's not controversial. That's just awesome.
Yeah. So,
see the photo?
Another one that was deleted. Let's see. The Republican Senate Committee. They posted a picture that says, this one is so great. A picture that says, "Tammy Duckworth has a sad record of not standing up for veterans."
Oh.
Well, she can't stand. She physically can't stand. So no, she does not stand up for veterans. She physically cannot.
She lost that leg in Iraq.
Yeah.
Come on.
So yeah, she was a veteran. Yeah. So that was a great one. And then there was the Arizona lawmaker who tweeted a picture of a bus going by and saying how there were children in it, and he was saying that they were all illegals and how they're being busted. And sure, there were children in it, but they were children on their way to school. It was a yellow school bus, the picture that he had tweeted out. And he was trying to say how busloads of illegals were coming into the country. So, and then we've got this one guy here, Raw Labrador, who has an awesome name. Labrador. I mean, that's a really great name, right? So he posts a picture. It says, "Me likey broke girls" during the Super Bowl, and he was
Oh my God.
talking about the TV show Broke Girls, and I guess they were dressed as strippers in the commercial that he was referring to. So, but again, Republican with his family values. So you've got that, and then Governor Jack Markle tweeted this picture of this girl here. It says, "An inappropriate photo was inadvertently sent out earlier." That's what his office wrote when this picture was sent out. And the picture, I'm not going to pull it up on the screen. You'll have to look it up. It's CNN top 10 tweets. But yeah, he posted a picture that was kind of crazy. So those are the top 10 tweets by CNN. I noticed nothing of Donald Trump, and I actually got to commend CNN for that because that's just kind of low-hanging fruit. I feel like people will tweet about...
He has his own list.
He has his own list,
Inappropriate tweets.
Exactly. But I feel like when people go to Donald Trump, it's almost like they've got nothing else. Like, it's just so easy. Like, is anyone else sick of late night where it's just like an hour of Donald Trump every night?
I just don't watch late night.
Yeah.
I've been sick of it since long before Donald Trump was involved.
But I mean, it makes sense to, I don't know how to get rid of this thing. My computer's in like full screen right now, and I don't know how to get out of it. So, but anyways, those are The top. Oh, see, Zach, that's why we got him here. Doesn't work anyways. This computer, piece
Oh
of
no,
shit.
the whole thing's just destroyed.
Those are the top 10 things that we have, the top 10 tweets. So the state is now borrowing money to pay its bills. It turns
Cool.
out
From who?
they've taken out a loan. Pennsylvania Treasurer and Auditor General Eugene D. Pasquale and Joe Torsella, they have authorized a $750 million line of credit for the Commonwealth to basically pay for things like medical expenses and things like that. And basically,
How European?
what they have said is without this loan, the state bank account would actually go into the red. We don't have enough money to pay for anything because we still haven't pushed a spending package together. So that's in the news as well. So it's been an interesting week. So with James Street, and there's so many things that I've been wanting to jump into that we haven't been here. I had to cancel last week's show.
Yeah.
So we are here right now. So I want to know what it's going to take to get a budget. And one of the things that has been going around, and I've talked about this a little bit on Saturday, but I really, really want to put this to rest. Everybody wants to contact Mayor Bill Peduto about this James Street situation with them closing due to the noise complaints. He has nothing to do with it. He can't do anything about it. He has absolutely no power whatsoever in the Liquor Control Enforcement Bureau. That it's a department of the state police that follows rules that are put down by the Liquor Control Board. He has nothing to do with it.
So as usual, what you're saying is the police are the real enemy.
Well, really, it's the laws that are on the books that they're enforcing. So,
Oh, are they just doing their jobs, Brian?
well, they are just doing their jobs, but really what we need is we need to contact our legislators, we need to contact our representatives, the senators, get them to change the rules. Right now, this computer is worthless. Absolutely worthless. I'll have to share a computer with Zach to actually get through some of these other segments, but
Okay.
yeah. Don't buy. Here's a piece of advice for you. Don't buy a computer from the Goodwill.
Don't buy secondhand computer
Don't buy
parts at
secondhand
all.
computer stuff. Yeah. So, anyways, the point is, I don't have any faith whatsoever in our Senate, in our House of Representatives coming together to fix our liquor control problems. They can't pass a budget. We're literally borrowing money. The state credit rating is going down because they have no way to pay the bills.
It's kind of hilarious. What do you think it looks like when we hit the bottom? I don't even know. I'm just.
I don't know what
I'm actually
happens.
curious.
I don't know what happens. Well, yeah, what does happen whenever you get to a point where you can't take out any more loans?
Like when I run out of money, there's nothing anyone else can do about it. Like I just exist with less money for a while.
Jeff, your business. If you ran a negative bank account,
Yeah.
how would that work for you?
It wouldn't go too well.
Wouldn't go too well.
No, I definitely wouldn't.
So what would be the steps you would do? Would you be able to take out a loan of $1 million to keep the business afloat?
Well, if there was money coming in, which, in the state you always have tax money coming in, or I think they're borrowing against the tobacco settlement is one of the options that I heard. So, that's money that's coming, they know is coming their way. So a bank can say, okay, well, we know you're good for $5 million because you have a $5 million check incoming.
Well, what the creditors are saying, the credit rating agencies, are that all of the spending plans that they have in place, they're all based on projections. There's no real hard money coming in. Basically, what they need to do, so it seems, is raise taxes in some way or another.
Ooh, you said the dirty
I
word.
did say the dirty word, yeah. So one of the things that they are looking at is putting in a severance tax on the natural gas industry. I have concerns about that, but I'm kind of at the point where what else can we do, or what else is feasible to actually happen? The Republicans aren't just going to they're not going to raise property taxes or income taxes or anything like that. So my biggest concern with putting a severance tax in is I can easily see the money being funneled to Philadelphia, because that always happens with a statewide tax. The money always ends up in the East. And we'll still have shitty roads, and we'll still have all of these problems that we have right now.
I like shitty roads. They
You
keep
like shitty
Yeah,
roads?
they keep my rent down.
They keep your rent down.
Every house I lived in this town, when they fix the road, that's like the first sign that next year I'm going to get evicted.
Hashtag keep Pittsburgh shitty.
Yes, exactly.
So maybe we need to send Darlene Harris to Harrisburg.
No, she doesn't care about roads. She just drives through the park.
She does just drive through the park. But what I'm saying is maybe everyone can rally around their dislike of her, because that seems to have happened in the Pittsburgh City Council at times. People have rallied around disliking her, and she would put out some interesting Facebook posts and tweets and things like that, and we can get some a little bit of entertainment coming out of Harrisburg.
Or we could just listen to the Auditor General and legalize weed and bring in
that is one thing that we do need to do.
$2 billion a year in tax revenue.
The Auditor General has come out publicly pushing for the legalization of marijuana. I don't see it happening with the current
Not
legislature.
a chance.
So,
Medical, maybe, but
They don't actually want the money.
well, it's weird because in some instances in this state, the Republicans for a while have actually been the more progressive ones when it comes to things like liquor reform. And it's been the Democrats that have been fighting the expansion of liquor hours and things like that. And a lot of it ties into the unions and things like that. But maybe this could be a situation where, I don't know, maybe they can come together. Because the thing is they have to find new revenue somehow. It has to come from somewhere. So that is really the best option, to bring in new revenue without raising taxes on people. It would be, you could throw a sin tax on it.
Well, imagine how
Tons
much
of
less
money.
we would then spend incarcerating and prosecuting simple possession. How many freed up police hours is that? How many less people you're
Yeah, we
paying
could
to
fire
keep
half the
alive?
force.
Well,
But not here in Millville.
Especially here in Millvale.
we would
Oh,
lose.
we have amazing police here in
I know, I'm
Millville.
kidding.
Yeah, but we'd also lose all the kickbacks that the prison industrial complex pays our politicians.
Do
so
we get that here? Because we don't have private prisons in Pennsylvania.
What if...
We do have public prisons.
we did have the Cash for Kids scandal, though. Remember that?
I don't. What?
Oh, that was,
Oh, yeah.
oh yeah, Mike remembers this. This was when the state judge in Pennsylvania, I forget the guy's name, but it was out east. They found out he was getting bribes from the prison companies to send all these juveniles to prison for amazingly egregious sentences.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
do you know what the racial disparity is in marijuana persecution in this state alone? I saw this on a normal page the other day. It's 8-1 African Americans to whites.
Oh wow.
8-1.
Wow.
Right.
That's crazy.
I mean, if you're white, you pretty much don't go to prison for a first-time drug offense. Almost everyone I grew up with had at least one, and no one did time. But as soon as I moved to DC and Pittsburgh and stuff, you start meeting people who had totally different experiences. I've always been shocked by that.
Wow.
Okay, but maybe if we can't get weed legalized, maybe we can just sell it on the sly and use that to fix roads or whatever it is we need the money for.
Unfortunately,
We need the money
black
for
market.
everything.
And that way we could have more control over how it gets spent. You wouldn't have to hire more police or anything like that. We could just spend it on the cool stuff.
Just spend it on the cool stuff. So it's interesting. We're going to get more into the James Street topic here at the end of the show with why this world is coming to an end. We're also going to talk with Jeff as well coming up. Whoa, what's that?
That's his this
That was
time.
mine, yeah, sorry.
All right, we've got more. We've got the weird news coming up next as well. We've got Jeff Betten. We've got some really interesting weird news on the horizon, including space pussy. That's all up next, or actually right now, here on the River's Edge.
Move on.
We are Pittsburgh's #1 weapon, fighting against the Mon Monster, saving the city from total and complete destruction with not one, not two, but 3 weird stories each and every week. Here I have story number 1 coming from you. It deals with space pussy. That's right, space pussy. It's not what you think. There was a cat that was sent up into space by NASA, and there were an entire...
That's exactly what I thought.
It's exactly okay. So it's exactly what he thought. So there was an entire team of cats. They were going through training, and there was one cat that made it through the training that they thought was fit. It had the actually a lot of them were unfit. They were too overweight. They fattened up because they didn't want to go to space. There was one cat who wanted to go, and she was put in like this device, put into a rocket, shot up into space, and she landed back on the Earth with a parachute. She survived her flight in space. And it was about 50 years ago this week, and she has no recognition. The cat was basically tossed to the curb. There's an entire statue made for a dog in space. There's all sorts of stuff that has been made for the chimps in space, but this cat is getting no love at all. And in fact, historically, people have turned the cat from a she to a he and called the cat Felix and said that Felix came back from space. And it's not the case. It's actually it was a female cat, and the cat needs a little love.
We should commemorate her with a meme.
We should.
When you can't make a statue, make a meme.
There's a great picture of the cat too. It actually has a note.
Yeah, I'm looking at it over here.
Yeah, the cat made a note. Apparently, it learned how to write, and it made a note thanking people for their support. So that was circulated. It did get some press, but it wasn't like the chimp. Like the chimp got a front page story, and I want to know, why was the cat shafted? And that's really a question to contemplate. Why was this cat given the shaft? Why was the cat kicked to the back burner of history when a damn dirty ape made the front page of every news? So that's story number 1. You've got an interesting story here.
Oh yeah. So in Sao Paulo, Brazil, the state there has a new plan that they were unveiling on World Food Day, actually. New food pellets that are called alimento and are made out of dehydrated leftovers of food from the commercial processing industry that are close to expiring or out of marketing standard. There is no public information on what exactly is in these things. And their plan is to basically funnel it to poor people. And
so they're using poor people as like a testing ground almost?
Well, no, it's more, it's less... They're not testing it.
Okay.
What they're doing is they're basically just like, well, we have excess food over here. It's like cat food grade, but you have hungry. It's
the meat Taco Bell.
It's idealistic, but it's also dystopian. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's curious in that way, I guess, right? Where it's like Soylent or something like that, or the weird maggot food from, or like cockroach bars from Snowpiercer, right? It's this like bottom of the barrel poor people.
It's kind of crazy that there are people in countries that are probably happy to get this because they don't have any food, and then here we go to a buffet and we kind of like snub our nose. Ugh,
Happy is probably the wrong word. Relieved, perhaps, but I mean,
if you have nothing to eat, you're going to be happy to have something.
Look at this picture. These things look like popcorn. This is what they look like.
Basically they look like little popcorn pellets.
Yeah, they're just weird little
Whenever I
crunchy
first
balls.
heard about this story, I was really excited because I thought it was like a pellet where you added water and it like poofed.
No,
Like sci-fi, like it poofed into a meal of some kind.
And you can't tell from here whether they're crunchy or doughy or like I don't know, like maybe they crumble like cookie dough, or maybe they have like a pretzel-y texture, but they look like pebbles. They just look like giant jars of pebbles.
Do they have a lot of nutrients in them where people can be sustained with it?
Essentially, that's the idea.
That's the idea.
Yeah, the video promoting the nuggets noted that Alimento contains all the nutrients a healthy person needs to live, including protein, vitamins, and minerals.
Wow.
It'll be a free meal substitute distributed to poor families around the country.
Could you see that being used as like a ration? Like we were talking about space pussy.
100%.
Yeah, like we were talking about space pussy. Could you see the space cat being able to go around and eat something like that to avoid, I don't know, as an emergency? You know,
Yeah,
obviously
sure.
you
You
don't
could
want
probably put sterilizing chemicals in these things too, or like some kind of other plague to like wipe out undesirables. I mean, it kind of lends itself to all sorts of stuff, really.
Yeah, that's interesting. So I feel like that would be good for like the doomsday preppers. They could keep that in their shelter.
That's
you know?
true.
That would be like something it wouldn't take
I would
up a lot
hoard
of
that.
space. Yeah, it wouldn't take up a lot of space. It would be a good.
Because right now I've got this 5-gallon bucket of organic quinoa and red lentils, and it's like 3 years old. And I'm like, I don't know how long this stuff lasts. I've got this like UN, like the kind of water filter that the UN gives out in third world countries, and like a pile of ammunition. And it feels lacking. Yeah, it feels like if I had this stuff, it would take me to the next level, you know?
Yeah. So I had an interesting weekend on Facebook. I've been posting, and I've been getting a lot of good responses on Facebook lately. One thing I wanted to post, this was great. This was a post from Dan Steislinger. He's actually going to be playing at the birthday party coming up. But he posted a great post, and I don't know, Facebook's been fun this past weekend. I usually don't ramble on about Facebook, but this just seems, I don't know, there were a lot of good things. He posted this status. He says, I guess it's okay for Kenny Chesney fans to trash the North Shore annually, but weekly jazz is too much to handle.
Too much.
to handle. So that was great.
We draw the line.
I posted this picture on Facebook, which I was really thrilled about. It was this dog. It was a picture I posted a year ago, and it came up, it was just it's just a fun picture. It's this dog who's squatting down to take a dump.
I saw this.
Yeah, and the dog asks, "What? At least I don't shit in my home."
Kevin.
Oh, he says Kevin. Yeah, it's just the name. He goes, "We sleep there. We sleep in the home. Where some people fucking drink. You shit where some people drink." Because, the dog drinks out of the commode.
Right.
I don't shit in your beer, you fucking animal. So the dog is basically calling out the guy because, he shits in the commode. That's where he drinks. And the dog's saying that at least it has the decency to shit outside. If you think about it from the dog's perspective, that's a really legitimate case. Can you imagine, like, somebody walking into the kitchen and shitting on the table? That would be horrible. You would not be pleased. You would throw the person out.
There's a certain amount of logic there.
There
that I
is,
can
yeah.
follow.
And I thought it was great because, you're thinking about it from a different perspective and you're like, the dog has a case.
Yeah.
The dog has a case. And if you think about it, even just the whole concept, we're very lucky that we can shit inside and not have to go out, especially in the winter time, and poop out amongst nature. But if you think about it, how awkward is that you poop where you sleep, basically? Especially if you have like an efficiency or something, it's like, I guess there's a separate room, but you're basically pooping where you sleep, where you eat, everything. And if you think about it, you always, like everybody has a glass that they keep in the commode, and they do drink before they go to bed, like a glass of water or something, so you are like drinking and pooping in the same room, whereas for years you pooped in an outhouse. We had to do that at work the other day. They shut the water off. And we all had to go outside to outhouses to poop. Is that even legal? Is somebody out there, if somebody out there is in the health profession, somebody out there who works for labor relations, are you allowed to keep a business open when there's no access to running water?
I used to live in this farmhouse in North Carolina. We only had one bathroom and like 9 people living there. And we'd go poop in the woods a lot. And then we made a composting toilet as well out of sawdust.
Now, did you ever wipe your ass crack with a leaf
I've done that while camping. I didn't do that
while at work?
while at home.
So I used to do that when I had to blow my nose. I would blow my nose on leaves and things like that.
When I rode freight trains a few times, and sometimes when they pull over to the side, you have to jump off and shit really quickly. But what's it called? Lamb's ear or mullein all grow along the side of the tracks, so you can wipe your butt with that.
So I feel like you and this dog have this connection. You've got this personal bond.
We love shitting outside.
Yes.
It is nice. Shitting outside is nice. It feels nice. There's a breeze. Well, not in the winter, And not in the middle
Nothing
of the
is
summer
nice in the
either.
winter.
No.
No, the winter's awful. I don't know. I don't really like shitting outside. I prefer. So I'm like the quite the opposite. I like the cushy toilet seat. I remember whenever I first went to college and it was birthday time, and my mom's like, "What do you want for your birthday?" And as you get older, different things take priority, and I remember asking her for a cushy toilet seat. That's what I got for my birthday, and I used this cushy toilet seat from place to place. I took it with me, and it still to this day is in a bag waiting for the next toilet to be placed on, because my roommate doesn't like the cushy toilet seat, but he has high quality toilet seats. He doesn't have that cheap plastic stuff. I won't sit on a cheap plastic toilet seat. I hate that when you
have standards.
Yeah,
That's what we have at our house, and it's broken too.
They're
like
awful.
The spot on the hinge is broken.
Why don't
so
you replace it with a
comes
real
over to
toilet
the-
seat?
You know, for the same reason that I don't replace a lot of broken things in my house.
But you could take it with you when you're done.
That's still one of the more insane things I've heard today.
What I did is I kept it in a bag.
What age were you when this happened? 5?
No, I was 19, 20.
When you got this as a gift?
Yeah, I was
okay,
20 years old, yeah.
if you were 5 years old and you were carrying around a 20-year-old seat cushion,
no.
that was what we were
There
thinking.
is something weirdly unsanitary about the cushy.
Well,
like,
you
toilet
gotta wash
seats.
it down. You spray it down with Lysol every week. You don't just let it fester. But I mean, you should be cleaning any toilet seat. And who doesn't clean the toilet seat?
Don't let it fester, Brian.
You should keep like a thing of hand sanitizer. Or not hand sanitizer, the sanitizing wipes in kind of that's actually we'll be doing that here soon. We've got a cleaning regimen where we'll be cleaning different aspects of the studio every week, and it's going to become complete with a checklist where you can check every little thing off as you do it.
Honestly.
So that way we'll keep up the standard of cleanliness. So that's on the horizon. So if you're part of the network and you're watching, that's right, you've got work coming. So, yeah, no, but yeah, I don't know. I can't sit on a cheap plastic toilet seat. It's flimsy. It feels cheap. I just think we're better than that as a society. You can get the porcelain ones. They've got the wooden ones, which I feel like the wooden ones in some ways would have to be worse than even the cushiony ones, because can't like your ass juice and your germs permeate the wood and stay there forever, where I feel like with a cushy toilet seat, it is a plastic covering that you can still wipe off.
Well, technically the wood ones are lacquered, so it's not like it's...
Okay. So it's not going to seep into like the grains of the wood. I guess that would be weird. You could get a splinter in your ass sitting on a
you don't want
toilet
that.
seat.
You don't want the unvarnished toilet seat.
Yeah, that would be...
Spend the extra money to get it lacquered.
I'm thinking about getting one of those.
It's worth it.
I'm thinking about getting the toilet seat that shoots water at your ass crack.
The bidet.
Yeah.
It's a bidet, yeah.
I'm thinking about getting one of those. I think that would be nice.
Also very European.
Yeah. So I think that would be very a great asset to the studio. I heard some of them will actually like shoot warm water out and then they'll blow at your rear as well.
Everyone jokes about these things, and I don't have one myself, but I will say that anyone I know who's ever got one has not regretted it.
I'm not joking. I'm very seriously considering getting one. They're becoming more prevalent here in the United States.
They
More
tongue it a
accessible.
little bit for you, or just strictly hands off?
I don't know. I mean, they sell different models, so
Okay.
we could explore that. We'll explore Jeff Betten's birthday party, which is coming up.
A great segue, by the way.
We're going to do that.
Speaking of eating ass, party!
Well, thanks, Brian.
We'll be jumping into that right after the break.
Hey, it's Mike Sasson. Guess what? You used to love us at 10. You're going to love us even more at 9. It's me. It's Alex. It's funniness. It's guests. It's all sorts of me yelling into microphones only 1 hour earlier. It's exactly what you need at 9 o'clock. It's like a shot of adrenaline. It's the Mike Sasson Show, now starting at 9 o'clock on Tuesday on the River's Edge, a new kind of radio.
Hey River's Edge listeners, Alex here from the Mike Sasson Show, and boy have I got to tell you about Salon 22, a small local business located right here in Millville. I got my hair colored there about 2 weeks ago, and I still can't stop staring at myself. They use this awesome new technique called color melting to make me look like a mermaid. But don't worry, if mermaid hair isn't your thing, they'll meet all your hair goals. With things like balayage, rose gold, unicorn hair, ombre, as well as monochromatic color, which is your standard basic coloring. Seriously, they do it all and they do it good. Check Salon 22 out on Facebook and mention this ad when you make your appointment to receive a free color lock service to help preserve your color. It's a $20 value for free. I'm not kidding. Book your appointment now by calling 412-822-7222. That's 412-822-7222.
November 4th, 8 p.m., 12:30 midnight, James Street Gastropub at Speakeasy. It is Jeff Betten's birthday. Jeff, how old are you?
I'm going to be 32.
32, all right.
Yeah.
A young buck.
Well,
I'm just gonna 1 year younger.
32 is the new 31. So.
is it? Well, I am 31, so what does that make me?
What's 33? Because I'm coming up on 34.
Well, that's the age that they crucified Jesus. So just stay away from any Romans if you can help it.
Gotcha. Right.
So it is the big birthday party. Is it going to be up in the ballroom?
Yep, up in the ballroom. Yep.
Very cool. So tell me about it. You've got some like amazing performers. I was looking at the list.
Yeah.
We actually, I was just, Dan Getkin, he's going to be there as well,
Yep,
right?
Dan Getkin from the
He
12-6.
just liked the videos. So
Yep,
he's
absolutely.
been with us for a while.
We're gonna have Nathan Zub, Andre Costello, Drivik Krishner's our musical director. Chet Vincent's gonna be there. Kayla Skirman, Morgan Arena, Zach Kime from the Knox Boys. So we're gonna have. It's definitely going to be an all-star local cast.
Yeah, this looks great. So, how did you get all this together? What was kind of like the inspiration behind this? Big birthday party?
We actually,
Your
I cut a
artwork's
record.
amazing.
I should,
Yes.
yeah.
You got the record here.
Brought that for you guys.
So tell me about this.
So we actually cut that earlier this year, and we were just looking for a good time to release it, and we figured why not make it a birthday party,
Yeah.
because we don't have a lot of songs other than those two anyway, so you can't really have a show where you just play two songs and walk off stage. So we kind of stole the idea from Randy Bauman and his rambles. We said, well, why don't I call a bunch of my friends and we'll do a bunch of cover songs and we'll just have fun with it.
Artwork is amazing for this post.
Oh, Joe Brock.
Yeah, really like that. That turned out really, really well.
Absolutely.
Now, did you give him direction on what you wanted this to look like?
No,
or
you never give Joe Brock directions.
Okay, so
you just let him roll.
Just let him roll. So yeah, this is kind of interesting. It's almost has like a theater look to it.
Yeah, I think he described it. He pitched it to me. He's like, basically, you're the theme park.
Okay, so you're a theme park. So
Yeah.
Now, where did he come up with that idea? Did it have something to do with your personality?
I'm not
or-
sure. Maybe it does. Maybe it's something that I exude that I just don't.
Yeah.
Maybe other people see, or maybe Joe sees with his artist sensibility, and that not too many other people do. But yeah, it came to him, and he's brilliant as always.
So tell me about the record that you have coming out. So you said there's two songs on here.
Yeah, the A side is a song called Small Doses, and the B side is called Learning It As I Go. They're just two songs that I wrote with my buddy Dan Nishkawi from a band called Adeline Hotel up in New York. Mm-hmm. And we got Nick Charters from Costello and the Coal Miners on the drums. We got Jason Raflack on bass. Dan came in and played keys on that as well, actually. And we just we recorded with Jay Vega up at the Wilderness, and we did it all in a day. We just two songs, just all the instruments.
What can you tell me about the songs? Like what's like kind of the message? What were you trying to?
There's no message. We just we were just going for a mood mostly. Just really inspired by the National and Matt Berninger and those guys, and Tom Waits, trying to convey that kind of a mood. So.
And these are going to be available at the party.
They're actually going to be. If you show up, you get one for free because we're so happy you came. So you get free colored vinyl just for coming to my birthday party.
Very cool.
So.
Vinyl's on its way back, isn't it?
It is.
I mean,
It
people
is,
are buying
absolutely.
It. Why do you think it went out originally? Why do you think it lost its
Well, it went out because the CDs came, and technology is just shiny and new, so the novelty factor.
I remember though, like even before that, like when cassettes were out, it seemed like everybody was into cassettes, but the quality was never as good.
Well, and that's the other
Cassettes
thing.
were the peak of music. Just to be clear, I loved cassettes and would go back to them in a second.
Well, and it's the same thing. Tapes were also a novelty, and they were
better
cheaper.
than CDs,
Well, they were
though.
cheaper too. I mean, they're still cheaper. You can still get them for $5.
They were easier to copy, and especially when CDs were coming out, like I Discmen, you couldn't jog or even ride bikes with them. Like I
That's true. That is one good thing about
I
a
never
cassette.
used it. I got a Discman for like a year in high school, but for my entire life, I basically used a Walkman up until iPods.
It's such a pain though, 'cause you
came
had to take out
out.
the pen and wind it back up, and tape went everywhere.
Also, you really listen to an album when it's on a tape. Like you listen
That's
to
true.
it as an album,
Yeah.
which is nice. I feel like CDs were the breakdown of the
Well,
album.
CD,
That's true.
I do agree
Yeah.
with that, but with the record though,
Oh, no, records are fantastic. So I think the reason records are coming back is because people do like a tactile, kind of tangible thing
The
that
sound
you can
quality,
hold.
I think, is really
and
good, too.
If you're
Yes.
gonna do, and if you're just getting it to be a product, then vinyl's the obvious choice, right? Like if it's not the convenience factor, and because half of them come with codes to
Yeah,
to
download
get it
codes,
digital,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
That like if you're gonna get a tangible thing, why wouldn't you get vinyl at that point?
Absolutely, yeah. Well, the artwork's bigger too, so
Right.
it's more beautiful.
beautiful,
Yeah, exactly.
So why did you choose James Street? Why is the party at James Street originally? I mean,
Yeah.
how special is it now that it's at James
Oh,
Street
it's-
here in its final days?
We didn't intend for this to be the case, but it's a strange feeling because we're certainly honored to be among the last shows at James Street to really give it a good send off. We're gonna try our best, obviously, to give it a good send off. But yeah, what a way to go out though. Like you definitely, if you gave me the choice between 20 more years at James Street or having that distinction, I would choose 20 more years.
Yeah, it's really going to be a huge
Not me.
hit to the scene.
I'm just kidding.
No, I mean, it is for me. James Street was special to me because I was going to James Street really before this network, before I really got involved in the scene in any kind of, even
Yeah.
peripheral way. It's just a place I always went to for jazz, and I think that's the community that's going to be hit the hardest. with
Absolutely.
James Street closing is the
Yeah.
jazz community, because a lot of the other jazz venues have disappeared in Pittsburgh, and they have this rich jazz history, and I don't know where it's going to move to. I've seen jazz other places, but it's never in a setting like James Street, and that's
Yeah.
one of the problems. So you can.
The coffee shop, City of Asylum, does nice shows.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's that, but does it have the kind of space that the ballroom had?
I'm not gonna answer that because it will expose the fact that I've never been to James Street Pub in my life.
Okay, so there you go. Now
It does not. It's very nice, but it's hard to compete with the speakeasy. Like that was, I recommended to people, if you wanted a nice sounding venue, I always recommended the James Street Speakeasy or the Funhouse here at Mr. Small's.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And the thing with the ballroom where this party's going to be at is it was kind of that middle ground. It's bigger than the Funhouse or the Speakeasy, so you can have bigger performances and bigger shows there. But it's not so huge that you're going to have a hard time filling it. If you put the work in, you can fill the ballroom with people and get a decent sized crowd there, but it's not overwhelming. Like if you try to use the main stage here at Smalls, you gotta to sell that out, you gotta sell 800 some tickets, whereas the ballroom, it was big enough to have a bigger show, but it just wasn't quite as overwhelming.
Yeah. And mostly, Drew is our musical director, and he works there, and Kevin's been so supportive, and we just knew it would be a family affair if we hosted it there. No disrespect to Smalls or any of the other excellent venues in the city. It was just,
Well, it's a different feel, and different venues have different different vibes to them, and it's not that one's better or worse than the other, but there are some shows I would rather have here, there are some shows I'd rather have there, and one of the things I've always wanted to have at James Street was a New Year's Eve party.
Oh, that'd be great.
And unfortunately it's not going to happen now, but I always thought the ballroom with the disco ball and the ceiling and the high ceilings, because even though I love the Funhouse, I'm here all the time, and it's like kind of like my home, I live here.
Right.
But it doesn't have.
I've seen the pillow in the corner. I know you live
See,
here.
exactly. But it doesn't have the something about the tall ceilings and the disco ball. It has so much of a party feel to it at that
right.
ballroom, and you kind of miss that with the lower ceilings, and there's just a feel to it that it has.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I know what you mean.
And it's such a loss. Obviously, it's going to be a shame anytime James Street would have closed. But coming right on the hills of the BBT, it's really hitting the town, the city of Pittsburgh's music scene really hard. So it's going to be 2018. There's going to be some strong headwinds coming at us.
Where do we go from here? What's the next step? Because I feel like when these places close, like when BBT closes, the new owner's not gonna open it back up as BBT. It's gonna be something new, and these places, these older places, they have a certain feel to them that I just don't think you can recreate in a new business necessarily.
Right. Well, I guess, yeah, I mean, that's a tough argument. I mean, there's always, the possibility of rehabilitating old spaces. We're still waiting for the Garden Theater to be revitalized. Maybe that'll happen in the next 50 years. But in the meanwhile, great new venues like the Glitter Box will have to, pick up some slack. And, that truly is an excellent new venue in town. So, and I think there's a lot of those. And I mean, always the Roboto projects moved, a couple of times. So I hold out hope for the city of Pittsburgh. So
what can we expect at this party when we come in and check it out?
Oh, it's going to be a great time. The Beagle Brothers are opening. Beagle Brothers are a venerated Pittsburgh band. And then we're just going to kick things off with the house band. We're going to get some guests up. Mostly we're doing a lot of covers from the mid-2000s because we're kind of updating the idea of Randy Bauman's Ramble. So, he wants everything from the 60s and 70s. I'm doing the 2000s. That's my bread and butter. So we've got we're doing Death Cab, we're doing Bright Eyes, we're doing some Iron and Wine, we got some Rock on Tours. So yeah, that's pretty much our MO.
I think it's going to be fun, and I'm hoping. I mean, you should have an easy time selling this out with it being so close to the end, and I'm excited to see so many people in one spot up there. It's one of my favorite places. It's really
Absolutely.
Really is tragic. So we've got up ahead a possible lead.
Oh,
I don't know as to maybe who was behind the James Street. Closure. Just an idea. I don't know. I have nothing to go on.
Well, I will say, because I know we were arguing about local versus state jurisdiction earlier and worrying about that. I will say, Batman has no jurisdiction.
That's true.
There you go.
That is true. So maybe we should pick up that fight. I don't know. But we'll leave that for another day. But we have November 4th, 8 p.m. Music starts at 9.
Yep.
At the James Street Ballroom, right down. It's one of the last shows ever to be seen at James Street, at least under the current ownership. Who knows? Maybe someone will buy it and make it a music venue as well. Maybe I don't know what they could do with the ballroom, but maybe they can get the speakeasy up and running. But it will be the last one under the Safner regime there in... I don't know. Is that the right word, regime? I like throwing regime out there, but...
It sounds unseemly.
It sounds bad. He's a good guy. But it's still fun to say that, the Safner regime. I'm going to go with it. We called this place the Smalls Compound, and that kind of...
Compounds are great, though.
I would say the Safner era, perhaps.
The Safner era. So.
Administration? Yeah.
We'll be talking with Kevin next Sunday. We'll be broadcasting live from James Street. So, yes, the end of the Safner administration and on to something else. But we have a possible culprit in our Why the World is Coming to an End. Let's cue the music.
This is not progress, this is distress. Oh, what a mess, what a big bloody mess. This is not a war, this is not a fair fight. This is not a window for you to see the light. This is not a battle, this is not a victory. This is not about the desert or the oil or being free. This is not a revolution when there is no solution. This is impossible to find a conclusion. I can't stand here and watch my world die.
So this is the weekly segment where I tell you why the world is coming to an end. This was Watch My World Die by Joel Lindsay. That's the music. He'll be actually hosting the Acoustic Cafe. If you're watching live on video, it'll be tomorrow night. If you're listening to it on the radio network, it'll be tonight at the Funhouse of Mr. Smalls. But there is a gentleman who had posted a comment under a James Street post talking about the closure of the establishment, and he was very gleeful about the closing of James Street, and he was trying to throw some shade. I was told that's what the kids are saying nowadays. He was trying to throw some shade on James Street, and he said that basically he's angry at the establishment because someone asked him for spare change on the sidewalk outside of James Street, and he seemed extremely angry. And I know that seems like, oh, he's just angry or whatever, but the guy, if you look at his post, he goes on and on and on, and he is just livid that somebody would ask him for spare change out on the sidewalk, and how, James Street's horrible because they didn't, I don't know what they expected James Street to do.
It's the north side,
send
of course
out
you got
hired
panhandles.
thugs. So, I said,
It's part of the rent there.
I finally commented on it, and I said, man, this guy would shit his pants if he tried to buy something out of the 7-Eleven on Allegheny Avenue. Holy shit. You get, basically, ganged up on. There's people, everywhere. Hey, come on. So I don't know what he's so upset about, but I wonder if he might be the guy. I don't know.
Yeah, you said a few words that really struck me in there, and they were, if you look at his posts. Brian, where can we look at his posts?
On the James Street page. They had a post that was they were talking about the closure of the establishment, and he commented, and there's all these this back and forth, and this guy just will not let it die. He's livid. He's so angry and hates the place so much because somebody asked for spare change.
I mean, do we want to pop over here and name names, or is there?
No, if you want to find out who it is, it's there. It's public.
Okay, all right.
And it's right there.
He
on the
hasn't
Facebook page.
deleted his comments. He's standing his ground.
Oh, he's standing his ground.
Wow.
He's arguing. I mean, there's so many comments on this thing back and forth between this guy and basically everybody else in the city of Pittsburgh who likes James Street.
Okay.
So I don't know if it's him or not.
Doesn't matter. It sounds like his attitude is part of the problem, really, right? I mean, panhandling. You and I disagree on this sometimes. But panhandling is great, and it's part of the character of the city. And
I hate it, but I'm certainly not going to blame the establishment. Now, I will say at 7-Eleven, it would be nice if they just said hey, would you guys ease up a little bit? I mean, it's you go out and it's you can't even go in and get a drink without everybody asking you for money on the way in and out.
We don't
But
even have
it's
panhandlers panhandlers in this city. In
some, but not many.
No. In New Haven, when they ask you for money, it's a negotiation, less than a request. They're highballing you at 5. They usually start at 5. And if you just say no, you might just get 5 taken. You know what I mean? Whereas every panhandler in Pittsburgh I've ever said no to just totally took it. You know?
Well,
I appreciate that.
Well, the thing is most of them I agree will say no, but there are times where I don't carry cash on me ever. So there are times where I've been in Oakland, which Oakland, it's funny, this guy talks about the north side. Go to Oakland in the evening and every storefront in the entire neighborhood has somebody standing out there asking for money.
Yeah, Northside people always try to sell me drugs. Almost no one panhandles me.
Except for the 7-Eleven. My goodness.
Okay, I lived at the other end of the Northside. I lived over by Verdetto's in the part that my neighbor told me was called Spring Gutter, which is the edge of Spring Garden in Deutschtown.
Well, in Oakland, there was there were people where I've literally given them just a few cents because that's all I had. And they would get mad at me. They're like, "Oh, that's it?" I'm like, "I don't have to give you anything." You're mad at me because I'm actually giving you money? Fine, give it back, Really?
My question is, at what point are we going to see these panhandlers start accepting Venmo?
Right? Well, I did get into an argument the one day with someone in Market Square. I'm down there. She's there, begging for food. So, because I tend not to give money out, but if someone asks for food, I'll buy them something because, I don't want to just support someone's drug habit. But if they're asking for food, it's a different thing. So I said, sure. I said, let's go to this place. And she's like, well, can't we go here?
Nice.
I'm like, are you serious? I'm giving you free food and you're going to try to dictate where and what I'm buying you.
She's like, Taco got a really good review in the paper this week.
So I told her, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go get a drink at Starbucks. If you want a pastry, I'll get you a pastry, but that's all you're getting now.
It's almost like beggars can't be choosers.
Exactly, you would think. But, apparently in this city, they want it both ways. But either way, I'm not going to blame...
PRGR doesn't have a huge menu, You get worn out on it after a while.
So, yeah, I don't know. This guy, I'm just saying, apparently he's never in the city. I don't know. But that's the thing, it's all anonymous, the reporting. So the person might not even be a neighbor. It could be anybody. You don't know.
I think we should take it out on this guy.
Trace the call. Trace the call.
I wish we could, yeah.
No,
This
but
is where-
seriously, it is. I mean, not that I'm a huge fan of the legal system as it is, but one of the things I think is cool is like you are supposed to have the right to face your accuser, right?
Exactly.
Like this is so Soviet. Like this isn't American.
No,
Just being able to like
agree.
anonymously snitch on your neighbors until they get kicked out of their house or whatever.
In the whole process in which they determine whether a person is a violator is so bizarre, where you literally stand outside and listen for noise. And that's the way that they determine whether you've broken the law or not. There's no science. That's another thing about my work. Just to go back to bathrooms for a minute. They have, you know, like you go to Target and they have the button that you click and it notifies somebody when the bathroom's messed up. Well, where I work, they put this new thing in where there's a phone number that you dial, and then you call them and tell them the bathroom's messed up, and they literally have a symbol on there that says science. They equate giving you a 4-digit number to let somebody know that the bathroom needs cleaned to science. That, ladies and gentlemen, is why we are here at 7 p.m. on a Sunday instead of 10 a.m. Monday
I might be
morning.
picking up shifts there. We'll see. We'll
Well,
see.
you don't, yeah, we'll see. Saturday, November 4th,
Yes.
8 p.m., James Street Gastropub and Speakeasy. I will be back with you next Sunday evening. I don't think I have anything planned. Michael, what do you have coming up?
This Friday, you can catch me at Ham Bones. They got live music, and me and Ian Insect will be alternating doing stand-up while the bands break down and set up.
There you go. So don't forget, November 4th, 8 p.m., Jeff Betten's birthday. Happy birthday, Jeff.
Thank you, guys.
For Jeff Betten, for Michael Cohen, I'm Brian Crawford. This has been River Talk here. Sunday night, 7 p.m., live on video. Tomorrow morning, 10 a.m., or this morning if you're listening now. Monday, 10 a.m., riversedgepgh.com. Pittsburgh's voice for local music. We'll catch you next week.